that you have all been waiting for. He is the founder and the chairman of K.I.K. Group, specialized in electrical engineering field. He is a chartered engineer, a fellow at the Institution of Engineering and Technology UK, fellow at the Institution of Mechanical Engineers UK, as well as a fellow at the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka. To brief about his company, the first K.I.K. company, which was started in 1994, expanded into manufacturing and exporting modular electrical enclosures and LV electrical switchgear assemblies. K.I.K. also is into trading in electrical switchgear. In the year 2004, he was awarded the Entrepreneur of the Year Platinum Award, which is once in a lifetime award for an entrepreneur. Under his leadership, K.I.K. has won the Presidential Export Award for the exports in the electrical and electronic sector.
Not only that, but he's also a distinguished Toastmaster. He was instrumental in establishing many Toastmasters clubs in Sri Lanka, including the Gavel Club of University of Moratuwa. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome on stage Mr. Lalith Kahatapitiya.
Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. I don't know where you got all the details, nobody asked me. Well, I think the purpose of all of you coming here is not to listen to a lecture from me. You're all waiting to have a jolly good time, talk to each other, and then you have met all the friends after quite a long time. So this is not the time for a really technical lecture. But then let me also talk about something else which can make a change in this time if we really grab this. Because change is what we need right now. Because everybody is now saying like, things are bad and then difficult to survive. Anywhere I go, this is what we really hear. So it's time to change things. And then let me share some views for you to ponder. Go home, think about it, and then see how best we can change this entire scenario. As I said, the purpose of you all coming here is not to listen to a lecture. So today, let me speak a bit about the purpose. Some years ago, many years ago I would say, maybe more than 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, I asked one of my heads of a department in our organization, what is the purpose of you being here? So he was the head of finance actually. So this guy got a bit confused, and then I said, what's the purpose of your position or your job? So he started stammering, and then he said, managing finances, paying taxes, maintaining the ledgers, a whole lot of things. And then I asked another head of a department, head of HR, what is the purpose of your position? So similar stories I used to hear from him. Every head of a department I asked this question. I got a list of things that they do. So finally this discussion went on and on and on. I kept on asking them, what is the purpose of you being here? It took a couple of weeks. With some people, it took more than 4 weeks, I would say, for them to understand the real purpose of their positions. Can you believe it came to a stage after many discussions with each and every head of a department, they could describe their entire responsibility with less than 10 words. And that had all the responsibilities built in there in that job. The head of finance finally, before saying that I must say, at that time when I asked this question, it was a time that I was getting calls from the suppliers, who are mostly my friends, some of them are my friends, reminding about the payments. He said, they say, Lalith, there is a loan outstanding. Can you speak to our guys and then make sure that the payment is sent? So when I speak, yes, payment goes. And then for a month I used to get many calls. And that's the time I started this conversation. And the head of finance finally came out with a responsibility as safeguarding the credibility of the organization whilst ensuring growth. And that was, he understood his responsibility as safeguarding the credibility of the organization. When he understood that, within 1 month of that, all the calls coming to me stopped. Up to now, for so many years now, not a single person has called me about payments. It's not that we have already got a lot of money to make all the payments. There had been sometimes delayed. But before the due date, or people will call the suppliers and say, we have a difficulty in settling. Can we get some more time? So they negotiate. Because the responsibility was understood so well. The HR, when I went to the HR, they also said, looking out for the people, making, what is this, EPF, ETF, paying the salaries on time, getting the attendance. I said, all these are just, you are talking about tasks. Well, what is the responsibility? What is the response? So this question, when I kept on asking, finally, after many weeks, the reply came from him, ensure a fulfilled workforce, and then the real word is something like ensure a happy and a fulfilled workforce with us. Something to that effect. So with that, and that was a time that I noted a lot of disappointment with the people. But within a short time, the employee satisfaction skyrocketed. It went very high because everybody, they understood that people have to be fulfilled. They should feel happy. So they started doing many things. Immediately they started employee satisfaction surveys and many things, and then found out what is lacking. And we made a huge change there. So it's a matter of looking at things in a different angle. When I asked the production guy, what did he say? Production manager, the head of the department of production, they also came out with various things, managing workforce, doing jobs and this and that. And finally, he said, safeguarding our reputation, being one of the best organizations for the product. Because if they delay the production, we lose our name. So they understood it, and then they started doing things. After that, on-time deliveries was also not a problem. So all what we did, we understood the real purpose of somebody being there. Just imagine the scenario. This is an imaginary scenario which is not existing. Try to visualize if the bureaucrats in this country and the politicians look at their jobs in the same way. Where would we be by now? If they looked at their jobs, say the person in charge of the finance ministry or the finance treasury, if they looked at their responsibility of what is the result they need to produce, we wouldn't have come to this stage. So it's a matter of looking at our responsibilities in quite a different way. It does a huge change, not just a small thing. It's so unbelievable. The way people started reacting, the way people started looking at things became completely different. And another thing, with all this latest technology of Teams and Zoom and all that, I know that in our organizations, the meetings started growing. So most of the time when I try to call somebody on telephone, I know that many of them had meetings. So meetings. And I was wondering, how the hell these people have time to think? Because so much of many number of meetings every day. One day, when I was addressing the people in our organization, I told them, hereafter, if you have to have an interdepartmental meeting where many people have to get together and discuss, you have to fulfill 3 conditions. I said, number 1, you need to find out what is the specific purpose of this meeting. So when you call people for a meeting, tell them the specific purpose of the meeting. That's number 1. Number 2, tell them the outcome that you are expecting out of the meeting. What is the result you are expecting out of this meeting? Number 3, tell them how the outcome would be measured. Like magic, the meetings vanished. The number of meetings became very few. Of course, for those few meetings, they had wonderful reasons for having those meetings. And many of my top managers started thanking me for clarifying the need for meetings and taking out all the unnecessary meetings. The same thing you look at in a different way. When we look at things in a different way, it completely changes. When we do something, do we really look at the purpose? I'll tell you another good example. But this is a time that I should not take much time. I know that drinks and food are waiting. But let me take a few more minutes in sharing you one of my stories of how I became an engineer. Not like many of you. I was not fortunate to get selected to any of the universities with my A-level results. I sat for A-level twice. Both times, I was not selected for the universities. So as a result, I was doing various odd jobs. And then finally, my parents thought this guy is wasting his life. They managed to put me into the Ceylon Tobacco Company as a training field instructor. So field instructor job is not an easy thing. You have to grow tobacco, starting from clearing the jungle, and then setting the tobacco beds. It's not an easy job. And you're given a quarter of an acre of thick jungle, and we had to clear it alone. You can't. I had about 30 other people in the batch, and we were not allowed to help each other. We had to cultivate our plot alone. And then, first few days, I could remember, for a day, when I keep on clearing the jungle, the snakes just keep on jumping at you, and no time to even run. Just give a shot with the Mammati, and then continue the job. And that's the type of job I was doing. And at the same time, one of my father's friends, Vedamatya, who had been doing well in his village, in our village, passed away. That family was doing very well as long as the Vedamatya was alive. And then I saw this entire family getting into becoming like beggars. They were so poor, they were leading a day-to-day life they could not sustain. And many times they used to come to my house, I was a small child at the time, and get food from our place as well. And this made me this made me think, what will happen if my father falls sick? Or if that happens, if what happens to the Vedamatya happens to my father, because I'm the eldest in the family, with 2 sisters and 2 brothers, mother and mother's aunt, we call her Attamma, and if father becomes sick, father will also be there. How am I going to look after them? And that was the big problem. Being the eldest in the family, I will need a big income. I cannot let them beg on the road. So that was worrying me, and that's the time that I was in Ceylon Tobacco. And while cutting the jungle, this started worrying me. And at that time, I thought, no, I need to change my life into a different way. I have to be powerful enough to look after my family. And that time, because we live in a village, we are all from Karukara, one of the villages, and the society we used to associate at that time, not all rich people. So the people I have seen are the Mudalalis and then Vedamahatyas and all types of village guys. And the richest people I have seen are the my cousins, who were my father's sister's sons. three sons, all were engineers. And as a small boy, I used to see these engineers leading a wonderful life, having like very nice cars. When I go to their house, I see all types of electrical instruments, amplifiers, musical instruments, and that was like magic. So I had this idea that engineers are the people who live the most comfortable life out of the things I saw, and that got planted in me. And I got the desire to become an engineer at that time when I was working in Sri Lanka Group, cutting the jungles in thick village area called Maduvada of Kunasgiria. So during this time, when I got the idea, when I got the desire, I was not even selected to university. So then, but I was determined. I got a very clear idea. The purpose of my being, I said, I have to become an engineer. When the purpose is clear, wonder starts happening. It's unbelievable. When your purpose is made clear, things happen in a very unbelievable way. I believe it's something psychological. It happens. Then a piece of newspaper came to our dormitory. Something was wrapped in that piece of newspaper, and it had an advertisement calling for special apprentices by the apprenticeship board. And this was like happy news for me. When I saw this newspaper, I just took it, just a piece of newspaper, not a complete newspaper. Looked at it, I thought I must now get this chance. And that's one way forward close to becoming an engineer. So I still can't believe how that piece of newspaper came there. And it happened, so I applied, and out of 8,000, they selected 40 for that batch, and I was selected as one of them. And whilst being an apprentice, I managed to sit for the Council of Engineering Institutions exams and got through. And that's the path I took to become an engineer. Once your purpose is clear, you are prepared to sacrifice anything. At that time, I was getting 700, that was in 1975. I was getting 750 rupees per month. And if I became an apprentice, a special apprentice salary at that time was 115 rupees per month for 5 years. So I had to, if I am to take this path, I had to give up 750 and accept a salary of 115 for the rest of 5 years. I was prepared to take that challenge. I was prepared to do any sacrifice to reach the purpose for which I was working. That's the most important thing of this purpose. You will do anything, you will do any sacrifice once the purpose is clear. And I did it, and of course I didn't have to wait for 5 years. Within 2 years and 3 years, 2 years and 9 months, I managed to get through 5 subjects of the part 2 as well. The one which I got referred to was the Engineering Society, which I completed after the next 2 years. I got a salary of 1,500. I got an offer. So I left my apprenticeship within 2 years and 9 months and then accepted this job. So I told this story for you to understand the importance of understanding the purpose of what you are doing. So this purpose gives us a huge driving force. It gives us enormous confidence. It gives us commitment. It gives us clarity of life. So next time when you think of doing something, ask 3 questions, 3 golden questions. What is the specific purpose of my doing it? What is the outcome we are going to get by doing this one? And how will I measure that outcome? These 3 questions, even if you before calling for a meeting, think of these 3. What is the specific purpose of the meeting? What is the outcome that we are expecting, and how that outcome will be measured? That will make a big difference. Try it for yourself and experience the change. If the country also, if people start thinking that way, I'm sure we will not say things are bad always. Things will change. Good luck to everybody.
Thank you, dear sir, for those insightful words of knowing the purpose of what you are doing. So, thank you again, sir, and we would like to invite you again on stage and remain on stage for another short moment.